Good evening and welcome to episode 8 of the UAV chat show. Um, this evening we're going to be talking about a couple of things that have been going on through this year. Basically, what's been happening in the world of drones through the year. We've seen new regulations, we've seen some new drones come out. So we're going to be looking at a few things. I've got a guest coming on, Chris Atkin, who's going to talk to us about the project he's working on called PropFest, sorry. He'll be coming on about 8 o'clock. So I really want to start with basically the new regulations that have come in. This has made a hell of a lot of difference to um, what we can do as drone pilots, whether you're new to drones or you've been flying for a while and now you can do things that you weren't able to do before. Um, it's interesting that before last year, we were only able to fly 50 meters away from obstacles and structures. Now the whole thing is about flying over people or flying over uninvolved people. Um, so with some of the new things that come through, there are now some new classes, um, and I'm just going to show you this screen. We click on it. So we've got the A1, which is the basically allows you to fly over uninvolved people, but it's got to be a 250 gram drone. That's the what they call the MATOM, which is the maximum takeoff mass, not the actual weight of the drone. I think some people, when they're buying drones, especially with the Mini, they're slightly confused regarding what they can do with that drone, with the kind of things you can add to it. The problem is when you add things to it, whether it's strobes, even a skin to the drone, you're adding weight to it, and not knowing what that actual takeoff mass weight is, that's going to be very difficult for you to define if you were pulled over and asked questions about what you got on there and the weight and so forth. Then you got the A2 category, which um, asks for you to do a course, which is the A2 COC, which I've done and I know quite a few other people have done. That allows you to fly a drone up to 50 meters at the moment under legacy with the current drones like the Mavic Pro 2 or even the new Mavic Air S. Um, it's basically we're waiting, and I say waiting, we are waiting for the C class drone to come out, which is what ESSA is asking for, so that it's marked as C class. Um, there's been no word about anything on the internet about any companies that, not just DJI, because there are a number of other companies out there like Unique, Parrots, and so forth. Um, then none of them have mentioned about bringing out this drone class that we basically need so that we can now then fly up to 30 meters closer to uninvolved people. Um, but also, it means that we get away from the legacy, because if the legacy comes in, then we're going back to 150 meters, which is kind of, in my view, is kind of pointless in that respect. If that's what we're going to have to do, which is, you know, makes the course just, in my view, kind of not worthwhile. Um, but the 250 gram drone, you know, you can fly it anywhere, but for novices that are buying a drone or recently just got the Mavic Mini 2, there's a couple of things that you need to understand, especially if you're flying in a city or in a large park where there's people around and so forth. Um, when you take off and land, you are taking off from the landowner's property. And if it's in a city, that comes down to the local council. And we know that lots of councils now do not like drones being flown or in around the cities, um, even though people are doing it. If you were pulled over, you could be questioned about it, and do you have permission? And if they know, if the police or whatever know what they're talking about, then they will direct you to the council and say, have you got council permission to fly? If you haven't, then you're going to have to pack up your gear and go home. That's where people are getting a little bit unstuck at the moment, in regards with the Mini. Yes, you can fly it anywhere and what have you, and over people, but not masses of crowds of people. Um, but it is a great little drone. I think it's a shame that the Mavic Mini has not been connected to the smart controller as the Mavic Air um, S has, the new Mavic Air 2S. That's been connected to the smart controller, because lots of people have actually invested that money into a very expensive piece of controller, and they want to be able to control all their drones through that one controller. But we have to wait to see on that one. Um, the other thing is that um, if you've taken out DJI Care Refresh, one of the things is, if you have an accident, and if you have an accident where there's people involved, if you hit somebody with your drone, if they decide to sue you and you haven't got public liability insurance, then you're going to have a bit of a problem. Now, there are insurance companies out there that are doing insurance for drones. There's Cover Drone, and there's also Flock. Um, some of these actually offer a daily insurance cover with public liability, which can start from £1 million. I think it's actually worthwhile people actually looking at that side of things. The DJI Care Refresh, yes, it covers the drone, but then you have to, if you have a problem, you've got to send it off to Belgium or what have you. Dealing with the insurance direct, they could actually solve all those problems, and get you sorted out and get you flying as quickly as possible. Um, some may say actually that they're actually a lot better than DJI themselves in getting you back flying. If the drone is completely messed up, they can get a new one out to you within a couple of days if the insurance goes through properly. Um, those are some of the key points about flying with the Mini, is that, like I say, if you don't have public liability insurance, then you really need to consider getting that, to save yourselves any problems. Um, one of the other things I was going to say is that lots of people that are getting into flying drones now, there are actually other things that you can do. There is a group called Drone SAR for Lost Dogs. I'm just going to bring those up onto the screen. This is a great organization that helps people to find their dogs that have gone missing, and they ask drone operators to help to go and look for their dog in areas where it's been park or fields. Again, if you got the Mini and you're in a city, you can obviously help in that situation. They're a fantastic organisation. Um, this is their Facebook page. Um, they um, have in excess of 400,000 members. That was just actually released today. In fact, I think it's just up on the page there. Yeah, Louise Page Shepherd is the 40,000 members, not 400,000. Excuse me, I had too many zeros in front of me. Louise Page Shepherd. Um, she is the 400,000 person to join, and they do a fantastic job, and they've actually helped a lot of people to find their lost pets. And also they actually helped in organisation with people that go missing. If an elderly person's gone missing in an area, some of these drone pilots have actually helped to look for doing search rescue for them. So if you want to do something a little bit different with your drone and would like to help other people, then I totally recommend joining Drone SAR for Lost Dogs UK. You can find their Facebook page. Um, Next thing I was going to talk about is when you're sort of making your videos, a lot of people now are actually looking to make sort of video blogs and incorporating action cameras. I mean, I have a GoPro 7 and a GoPro 8, and I have a media mod, which basically it allows me to connect a microphone, and I use the Rode Wireless Go, which if I pull up their page, is a great piece of kit. Um, it is £146, but if you're doing video blogs with your drone and your action cameras, they can be really, really good and useful. They've got really good battery life. Um, some would say better than the actual GoPros themselves. I'm not sure if you can use them with the Osmo Action. It needs a 3.5-inch jack to connect up the transmitter to. But it's a good piece of kit to get involved if you're doing your video blogging. The other thing I was going to talk about was the drones that have come out so far this year, the Mavic Air S. It's a great drone, but shooting 5K, I don't really understand that side of it. I know that if they bring out a Mavic Pro 3, that they're talking that they might meet up to 8K. The problem being is that when you're trying to post on to a web platform, like for instance, if you're trying to post onto Facebook, the maximum you can do is 720 dp. If you go with YouTube and you use Google Chrome, you can actually view footage in 4K through that. And also, if you've got a 4K television going through the YouTube app, you can also watch your footage in full. It's very difficult right now to sort of get your videos out there and seen. There are some groups that do allow it, but if you're posting your video within the groups like Droneflies GB and also Beyond or Our Kingdom, what I would suggest is that people click on the actual link to go to the YouTube, and then actually you'll be able to see the video in full there than actually in Facebook. I know it takes away from the group, but it is one way to actually see the quality of those videos. And I must admit, there are some really, really talented people out there. Um, I have to mention Luke Ranger, who's an FPV pilot. He's going to be doing an interview with me in the next couple of weeks. We were going to be doing it probably this week or at the weekend, but they've had a family situation, and my best wishes go to them. So at the moment, Luke is dealing with that. But he's going to be coming on talking about actually building FPV drones and flying them. Um, I've spoken to Luke for some time online, and very confident guy in knowing what he's doing and what have you. And he will actually sort of show you some places where you can get the equipment and parts quite cheaply. I think the thing is with FPV is that I think you crash more times than you actually flying, or it's part of the actual enjoyment of flying is crashing at the same time. So you are getting through props and what have you. Um, Saying that, the new DJI FPV, I think the verdict is still out on that one at the moment. I know the props are about £15 to replace. I think for an FPV, if you build at home and DIY, you're probably only looking about maybe sort of £5 or £6 for a set. I've seen some great videos using the FPV, but I'm not convinced that DJI have actually made the right call on bringing out that drone. Others might have different views on that. Um, it's one of those things that you're either into it or you're not. Um, but everybody has their own taste in what they're doing. Um, it's I think it's fascinating what they can do using FPVs, and that there's some interesting videos of going through buildings and what have you. Um, we're going to have Chris Atkin. I know that, I think he's an FPV pilot, and this prop fest that he's doing is maybe interesting to those that have been watching this later on. Um, so just waiting for Chris to come and join us. It's a shame about the weather at the moment. I don't know what it's like by you, but it's been absolutely hounding it down by us the last week or so. And I'm actually hoping to get out for the first time um, down into Bristol Docks, where I live in Bristol. It'll be the first time I've flown down in Bristol Docks. I've been working with um, the council and their film department. I've had a lot of chats and conversations because they're the department that give permission for flights to happen within the city centre. And again, this goes back to what I was talking about, getting permission. When I first got in contact with them just before Christmas, just after Christmas actually, when after the new regulations came in, um, they didn't really actually know much about um, the new regulations and the new sort of certifications that have come out. And it's been a bit of a learning curve for them. But they've kindly allowed me to have my first flight. I've had to send in risk assessments, give details of where I'm going to be flying and the routes that I'll be taking. Um, I'm hoping that it's all going to be worthwhile, and it will show to Bristol City Council that drone pilots that are moving into this new area of flying with the A2 COC certificate can actually do it well and not be problematic to the council and what have you. We're lucky in Bristol. We have a couple of places, a couple of parks that we can actually fly. Blaise Castle is one, and also there's the Hengrove Old Airport. That sadly is going to be closed down shortly. I know they're going to be putting a fair on for about a month. So that means they're not going to be people aren't going to be able to go and fly over there. But it is quite a large area. I think they're just going to be using tarmac. But I don't know about other cities that actually have dedicated places where they can fly. It normally comes under the wording of remote control aircraft or hobby aircraft where you can fly, and it should be allowed for you to fly drones in those places. I think it would be good if in some of the groups that if people know locations within certain cities where you can fly legally, then it would be good to share those within the Facebook groups. I just got somebody saying, what's your thoughts on the ultra cheap recreational camera drones coming out of China from Promoter of the Year? I don't know. It's a problem, isn't it? That these cheap drones that are available, they look like DJI drones. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. The trouble is, the cheaper that you go, the more chances you're going to have a flyaway if they don't have GPS built into them. It's a good question. I think basically this kind of hobby, and if you're looking to take it into a commercial stance with maybe starting off with the A2 and doing a few things with that, because you can do some commercial work with the A2. You need a good quality drone, and I don't think cheap drones are the right way to go. If you're only spending 50 quid or 150 quid, you're not going to get your money's worth, in my view. I think it's flying the DJI Tello. It's a toy, and toys are quite different from drones that actually capture video, a good quality video, and images. So whether it comes from China, it doesn't really matter in my view. I mean, most of these drones manufacturers are all from China. I don't know anybody that actually makes any outside of that. But a good question. I mean, what's your thoughts? Is there any particular model that you've been thinking of? So, Promoter of the Year says he dabbles in VR drone flying. So you're not flying FPV at the moment. You're doing it just through VR. Just slowly getting into the hobby. I think you're doing the right thing. I think with FPV, they're a lot more complicated to fly. I must admit, with my eyesight, I mean, I've been invited by Luke to fly FPV with him, or I can wear a set of goggles to see what he's seeing. And I think with my situation, because I have problems with sort of focusing on things, going left to right quickly, that I'll probably be falling out of my chair. I think the speed that they fly is amazing, and some of the tricks they can do with these drones. Um, but it's it's something I think you have to learn on a monitor. I think that's the way that Luke was explaining it to me. That basically you need to learn how to fly using the goggles on with a piece of software program like what you're doing at the moment, and getting used to the controls and doing the tricks that people before you even get as far as doing the tricks, learning to actually visually um, get your brain to connect with the drone. I think that's the way that I would explain it. It's almost like you're looking through. For me, it's like you're looking through somebody's other's eyes. It's not like flying a drone where you're looking at a monitor screen. This is like straight in your face and what have you, and your motion. Whether you get motion sickness, I don't know if people get motion sickness flying FPV for the first time. It would be interesting to know, but um, at the speeds that they go and the sort of turning and twisting, that would, I think, pretty much freak me out to say the least. But I can imagine it's an awful lot of fun, and I know there's a lot of people that enjoy flying FPV. But yes, I think you're doing the right thing by starting out. It's the same with flying um, other drones like the DJI Mavics and what have you. Stick control is everything. You've got to get your hands to work with your sights in where you're going, and then you've got the added thing of trying to make that video and moving the camera into a certain position as you're moving along. It takes practice, and if you're starting out, if you're a novice, then keep going to a field where there's nobody to interrupt you. If you've got a place like that, and just learn how to do circles using the sticks without using the quick setups that come with the the drones, where you can do like the circle and um, other things like that. Learn to manipulate the joysticks so you can do it yourself. Um, I mean, I've been flying for coming up 3 years now, and I've only used some of the tricks that come in with the Go 4 app um, a couple of times, and for different reasons, because I was either concentrating on the image that I was looking to capture. Um, Recently, I went to Wales and I was doing some light painting. So doing that, um, I had to sort of set it into continuous circling round a building, top of a building, so the light was coming through, and then working my ordinary camera on a tripod in bulb mode to capture the image. But the drones are, I mean, drones have opened the world of photography for me. I mean, more of a photography than anything else. I mean, I've been doing photography for over 12 years now. Um, and I've been doing landscape photography as well as portrait photography. I have a studio. Haven't been doing it for the last year in the studio because of COVID, obviously. Um, but it gives me, for my situation, because I'm wheelchair bound, and I know a lot of people already know this, it just gives me a different perception of the image that I'm looking to capture, and it got me into doing video. It's not something that I would have thought I would be doing. I wouldn't even have thought I was doing this kind of thing by setting up a channel to talk about drones and what have you. It's drones have actually kind of opened the skies up for me and allows me to get to places that I just cannot in my wheelchair. And a lot of my landscape photography has always been from the side of a road. You wouldn't have known it by looking at the images. If you're interested, if you go to andydebrayphotography.com, if you Google that, you'll find me and you can see some of my work. Um, but we're just waiting for Chris to join us at the moment. I think he's trying to get hooked up. Um, Going back to um, the Mavic Air S, like I was saying, shooting in 5K, the only benefit I can see from that is that when you're editing, you'll be able to zoom in and you won't get that pixelating to get some of your images. I haven't really spent that much time looking at the S because I've had an Air before and it was a little bit too small for me in my guise. But the camera seems really good that they put on there. I think there's a lot of trickery going with making up the images at 42 megapixels. The coloring looks quite good, um, and it's still again down to what you can do with the drone in that respect. Um, One thing I would say is that I definitely look to get the insurance sorted out for that and also public liability insurance. It's one of those things that I think is important. Um, Going back to action cameras, like with the Mavic Pro, ND filters. A lot of us now with our drones are using ND filters, and Polar Pro is probably one of the best ND manufacturers that I think are around. They're not cheap. The great thing is that the Polar Pro actually do for the Hero 8 a set of ND filters, and I've got a set here, and it comes with a clip that basically goes around the actual lens, and then you've got the ND filter that literally, if I can hold this up. So then you've got this as the clip that goes on to the action camera, and then there's the ND filter, and that just slots on there. It's very secure. There is sort of like a magnet, which is great because that way it's not going to fall off. They range for about £59. I haven't seen any come out for the Hero 9, but I'm sure they will bring out something pretty similar to that as well. But definitely worthwhile looking at ND filters for an action camera. There's lots and lots of kind of accessories that you can get for action cameras. I've got a load here. I've got spider feet tripods. I've got what it has clips that actually fed onto the front of a car or the side of the car. You've got headbands, you've got chest bands, and they're really good to help with your videography. I find trying to make a sort of story about what I'm doing. I recently went to Wales back last month, and I left at sort of 1:30 in the morning because I wanted to catch sunrise over in Wales, and Ellen Valley in Wales. Lovely place. I totally recommend going there. And it was it was a 3 hour drive for me, but it was worth going there because of lockdown. It's really been the first time that I've actually been able to get out. and I decided that I was going to record my story and talk about what I was doing. And also, I used some of the gear to put the one of the cameras actually on the car, and then drive through the actual valley itself, just to give another insight into the whole story behind the flights with the drone. Um, I think when you get into flying a drone, you when you start doing videos and what have you, you start moving into sort of editing, and um, you look at what other people are doing. You think, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. I'd like to have a go at that. Um, it like all things, it's money. Um, some of these things you can get reasonably good price on. Um, some of them you get your probably biggest investment is your drone, um, and that is one of the things that's going to be the most expensive that you're going to be setting up. And I know I'm banging on about insurance, but again, for the amount of money you're forking out, I really think that um, having that insurance to cover you just gives you that peace of mind, and especially the public liability. Um, I've seen some really nasty accidents. Um, I'm actually going to see if I can find. Um, See if I can find some images. Okay, just to show you what um, drone props can actually do. These are some images where people have either tried to catch their drone in flight, or they've um, it's just not it's not the easiest way to do it. I do love this image though, that this guy actually cutting his chicken up or testing his prop on chickens. Um, there is an image here that says the way not to connect to your drone. Um, and I'm going to show you one image, and I know this is quite graphic, but I think this just proves the point why you need to be so careful when you're flying in a city or in a park where there are people and kids and what have you. But this kind of thing, if you're a novice and you're flying and there's people around, you really do not want to end up in a situation like this. God forbid, it ever happening. But if you did, that's where the public liability insurance really comes in, because those people will take you to court for the harm that you've caused your children. Um, like I say, we're saying that these aren't toys. They're not like cheap little drones you can get that you can fly in the garden. These are quite serious pieces of kit. Even though the blades are very thin, they are extremely fine and sharp, and the speed that they travel, it can do some real damage. And um, I've had a friend of mine, Ollie Dixon, who is a commercial drone pilot. He showed me his finger that when he tried to catch his drone. He's got a lot better at it now, I have to say. Well done, Ollie. Um, but you do have to consider all the things. This is why um, sometimes, like with the courses that I've been running, it's worthwhile taking some of that information, because it's all about risk assessment. Flying a drone, um, you have to think about your surroundings and how much in regards to people are around you. Is it safe to fly there? I know, like if you're down at a beach and you think, oh, it's a sunset and I want to capture that, well, fine, but just be careful where you're doing it so that you're not going to get into problems. And if anybody comes up to chat to you, I would say to them, please, can you just wait till I've landed the drone, and can you stay back till I've landed the drone, and then have a chat with them if they want to find out more about what you're doing and what have you. Um, just checking my messages a moment. Um, Not sure that. Okay, I'm going to try and send him another link. Let's get Chris on here. I'm just having to log in. Right, Chris, I'll just send you a link. Bear with us, guys. Right. Apologies for the silence. I'm just trying to get Chris connected to my studio. I'm interested to know what this prop fest is actually. So, Chris, if you're listening, I've just sent you a link through Messenger. You should be able to click on that to open up. While we're waiting, this chat show started back just before Christmas, purely because of lockdown and what have you. And we weren't getting out, and it was just a way to actually get um, people that fly drones, either commercially or for a hobby, to come along and talk about what they do and how they do it. It would be interesting to hear from anybody that does something different or they use a different manufacturer of drone. I'd love to speak to someone with an Ortello or Unique drone, so they can tell us why they went with that particular manufacturer, what makes those drones seem better for them. Because DJ is not the only company on the market. There's a few that are around, as well as Parrots and what have you. Um, so if you've got any um, ideas, like if you'd like to come on and chat to us about what you do with your drone, that would be really, really good. Um, Trying to build content for this channel is it's all down to you guys at the end of the day. Um, I can come on here and waffle on about one thing or another. I'm not into doing product reviews and stuff like that. That's not what this is about. It's about like people like you and me who fly drones for whatever reason, whether it's video or photography. Um, it may be about different types of editing software that you use. So I've actually done 4 Dave Jones a couple of tutorial videos about Lightroom that I use for my photography. I am a Mac guy, and I use Final Cut Pro. Was using Premiere Pro. Both are really, really good industrial softwares. There's a lot to learn with them, which especially with color grading and stuff like that. But the great thing is with YouTube, there are hundreds and hundreds of tutorials out there about how to do different things in different ways. The only thing I would say is that try and find your own unique way of color grading. There's lots of packages out there that they kind of do a good job, but I think sometimes you if you looked at it in a little bit detail, you can actually do it yourself. Um, it's the same with sort of Photoshop or Lightroom. Lightroom's a really good software. Photoshop is a little bit more pro. Again, it's an industrial software, but it's again, it's a software that there's, you know, hundreds of ways of doing the same thing, just doing it in a different way. Um, but I'm just going to check on Chris because I think he's finding it difficult to get on to us. Oh, the joy of video and technology. Was there anything else I was going to mention about? Um, uh, I think Chris is now just getting a message from me. He's going to be joining us now. This is something that Chris has been working on for a while, I believe. I think COVID has caused problems for him to get this meet together. I think it's a meeting of drone pilots that he's trying to get together on a few dates. I think it's in, not sure if it's in September, but hopefully he will be able to tell us. This is so annoying, isn't it? I've always said I'm not a professional at this. Um, I don't get paid. I do this out of my own time, out of my own pocket. Um, but it's all a bit fun. Just been watching myself on a live feed to see if we're going out okay. I must admit, I since we got fiber optic, my life has completely changed. Um, I've literally got 150 meg download speed and about 40 meg upload speed, which is absolutely brilliant. Excuse me, I just have a slurp of my drink. Um, while we're waiting for Chris to join us, I mean, I was talking about when I went over to Wales and I was doing some light painting. This is the image that I was trying to create. Um, so I literally had the drone on orbit mode. Excuse me. God, that's gusty, that coat. Um, and basically, it's actually four images layered together to give the effect. Um, it was literally an hour before sunrise, um, and it's my first time in light painting with a drone. And we got Chris with us now, so let's just hide this screen and let's bring on Chris. Hi Chris, you got to turn on your video and microphone. You'll see the links at the bottom. Not seeing you, mate. Technology is brilliant, I told you. Normally what I try and do is get guests to actually see the software first before going into it. But Chris actually contacted me earlier this afternoon, so it's kind of a bit of a last minute thing, this. Ah, there we go. We got a picture, but we've got no sound. So you need to go to your microphone at the bottom. I have to say I'm no good at lip reading. Can you see the your microphones where you can choose your microphone? The little arrow. Right, I'm gonna type you a message. See if this comes up. Try speaking again. No. Okay. Um, if you look at when you're on the page, you can see can you see the tabs where it says stop video mute? Okay, see the arrow where by next to the mute. If you click on that, and then you can choose microphone. Nothing there. Right. Bear with me 1 second. I'm ringing you. Can you hear me? Can you? It's unmuted. So there's no arrow where you can actually. Can you click on the microphone so you can choose your microphone? Right. Um, yeah, I'm not sure why it's not coming through. I'll I'll try again. I'm going to ring off a second and try something else. Technology. Brilliant. Right. So I tell you what I'm going to do, Chris. Close that down. What I'm going to do, Chris, I'm going to take yourself out and then rejoin and then see whether that works. So, Chris, what you need to do is just click on that link again and then come back.
Chris Pop has joined.
Okay. Okay, so I can see table. No, still not sound. Can you try turning the volume up? No. Okay. I tell you what, Chris. What we'll do, I'm gonna do, we'll do a show in a couple of weeks' time. And I'll have a chat with you, and we'll try and get this figured out. Because I think it's quite interesting what you're actually doing. I think it's for FPV flying. Is that correct? Yeah, thumbs up. Brilliant. Okay, Chris, thank you for trying to come back to us. Can you just try speaking again? No, no, still not. No, I thought I might have fixed it, but it's not working. So we'll get Chris back in a week or so to another show, and we'll try and do a whole show about what you're doing, Chris, because I think it might be interesting. And you can also tell us about your FPV experience. Brilliant. All right, thank you for joining us, Chris. Take care, mate. I'm sorry about that, guys. It was a last minute thing, and the trouble is you've got to have a microphone that works as well as a camera that works. In fact, with Luke Rangers, who I'm going to be speaking to in a couple of weeks' time, I had to go round to his place and actually drop off a webcam because he didn't have one. And I thought I'd save him a couple of bucks. So I'm going to call it a night for now, but thank you for joining me. I hope that some people have found this interesting. Like I say, if there's anything that you would like to talk about or would like to come on the show and share your journey with flying drones, whether it's commercially or as a hobby, or if it's part of your work, then get in contact with us. You can either PM me on Facebook, just look for my name, Andy Debray, and or otherwise leave a message within the YouTube channel, and I will get back to you. So for now, thank you so much for watching. Sorry about the technical issues. We are continuously learning on this. Like I say, it's taken me a while to get to this point. But it's not an easy thing. I think some of these guys like Geek Squana, big shout out to him. They do a fantastic job. Very, very professional. A lot better, more professional than what I am. But like I say, that this is something that I'm just doing to try and help the community in my own little way. So thank you for watching. Watch out for the next episode, which will be episode 9. God, we're going into double figures at this rate. So till then, thank you for watching.